Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Let's continue in Al-Mu'taqad Al-Saghir by Imam Ibn Khafeef, the direct student of Imam Al-Ash'ari, Rahimahumullah. Wanted to mention something to you about one of the lines that we already went over, where the author says, Rahimahullah, وَيُصَلِّي خَلْفَ كُلِّ بَرٍّ وَفَاجِرٍ, and he prays behind any good doer or vice doer. This means, and he believes in the validity of prayer behind any good doer or vice doer as long as he's a Muslim. Doesn't mean that it's recommended to pray behind a vice doer. It's not recommended to pray behind a vice doer. That means a major sinner. And according to Imam Ahmad, according to Ahmad, it's not valid to pray behind a major sinner, except sometimes. Not valid, except sometimes. So that saying is contrary to what's being said here. And this statement is in the other books of Aqidah, like Nasafi and other books. So when we get to this statement in the books of Aqidah, it is relevant and worthwhile to mention the saying of Ahmad, as if it is a solitary saying. So this is what the scholars say in their books of Aqidah, and then you hear, but according to Ahmad, it's not valid except in such and such cases. So the wording of the line is, he prays, وَيُصَلِّي خَلْفَ كُلِّ بَرٍّ وَفَاجِرٍ. He prays behind any good doer or vice doer. The statement here is more about his conviction than his action. Why would he pray behind any good doer or vice doer? Because he believes that it's valid to do so. And Imam Ahmad has a statement. He has a ruling that he gave. If you have a question, go ahead, please. Now we are here. The author says, Rahimahullah, وَالْعَقْلُ لَا يُحَسِّنُ وَلَا يُقَبِّحُ. And the mind does not deem good, nor does it deem bad. It says here, the mind does not deem anything inherently good or bad. That's true. Yani, the mind does not have an evidence for the badness of something. Even if one had an inclination, though. Even if you had an inclination. When I say inclination, means you might be inclined towards or away from something. You might find in yourself something that's can't be done, shouldn't be done. You won't do it. You couldn't do it. Yani, you find something in yourself that's called inhibition. This inhibition is not an evidence. That's what I want to say. The inhibition itself is not evidence. Yani, هكذا. والعقل لا يحسن ولا يقبح. The mind does not deem anything inherently good or bad. Someone would say, well, what about murder? So you say to him, according to someone who doesn't deem it bad, then it's not bad. So what's he going to say? Is he going to say, but we know better? So I would say to him, that one doesn't know better. So what's the meaning of this here? There is no true evidence. Bal بل الشرع يحسن ويقبح. Rather, the religious law deems good or bad. So this statement, it doesn't mean that the humans don't have any inclination one way or another, what someone might call morals, or what someone might call maybe common sense. But this, what someone might call morals or what someone might call common sense, is not in itself evidence. The evidence is from the revelation. This is what will be the standard on resurrection day. And we know some examples from the religion for this, like in the story of Al-Khadir. Didn't he kill the boy? Yes, he did. And Prophet Musa did not know in what way it is lawful for him to do so? Yes. It was that Allah revealed to him to kill the boy. And so it was lawful for him to do so. And then he explained an issue pertaining to pending destiny, if you remember the story. That had this boy lived, he would have been a tyrant to his parents and he would have misguided them. And for example, Abraham's having a slave woman. This is not a bad thing. And the Prophet's marriage to Aisha is not a bad thing. And in the law of Adam, it was permissible for a man to marry his sister who is not his twin. That was for then a good thing. And Abraham was commanded to sacrifice his son. I never heard anyone who's outraged over this. What? He was gonna sacrifice his son? Wa alaykum assalam wa rahmatullah. So the things are good that the religion deemed good, and they are bad if the religion deemed them bad. And the people amongst themselves, they don't agree about what's good and what's bad anyway. And that's why the different countries have different laws. But the human being is not supposed to make laws, so all of that's invalid. وَالشَّرْعُ حَاكِمٌ عَلَى الْعَقْلِ. The author says, and the religious law is the judge over the mind. Correct. Yani, the religious law has authority. Authority. The religious law is the authority over the mind. Or not the, and. Yani, according to the way it's written there. Indefinite. Hakimun. The religious law is an authority over the mind. Yes. However, the mind does not find anything in the religious law unsound. The religious law is the authority, not the mind. But the mind will not find a flaw in the religious law. We're talking about mental judgment here, not opinion. Meaning, when it comes to wudu, for example, why we have to wash our faces and arms and wipe our heads and wash our feet? Why not other organs? And the things that actually break the wudu, why are they not other things? Why these things and not other things? So the mind has no way to reach that. Its confirmation is by religious law. The religious law confirms whatever it confirms about these cases. That your religious ablution is by these limbs, applies to these limbs. And the invalidators of this ablution are these matters. The mind has no selection here, nor objection. That's what it means to say that the religious law is not against the mind. The mind will not find anything contrary to the religious law. Uh, the mind will not find anything impossible in the religious law. Or this is what the scholars said. They said the religious law only comes with what is mentally approved. لا يأتي إلا بمجوزات العقل. The religious law only comes with what is mentally approved. Nothing in the religious law is contrary to the sound mind. The religious law is the authority over the mind, but nothing about it is contrary to the sound mind. And therefore, the sound mind is a witness to the religious law's validity. Yani, when the religious law is presented to the sound mind testifies that it's correct. And not just that, but actually, much of the religion does comply with the inclination. Yani, I'm not talking about sinful inclination. I'm talking about that sense, yani, that I was alluding to a little bit earlier. Yani, what I mean to say is, what did the religion come with for the human being? Didn't the religion come with the human being, firstly, understanding the difference between his creator and the creations? And the religion came with avoiding false religion. And the religion came with covering yourself. And the religion came with cleaning yourself. And the religion came with being good to people and being helpful and gaining knowledge and being productive. And, for example, taking a bath before you go to a meeting, taking a ghusl before you go to a meeting so you won't smell bad. So this is the sunnah, and the sunnah, it is in line with the human's nature. And religion came with clipping the nails and plucking the armpit hair and trimming the pubic hair and trimming the mustache and other things. Then the author said, وَالنَّاسُ عَلَى الْعَدَالَةِ حَتَّى يَظْهَرَ فِيهِمُ الْجَرْحِ. And people are considered trustworthy until evidence of their disqualification appears. That's not bad. The people are upon trustworthiness. وَالنَّاسُ عَلَى الْعَدَالَةِ. means, like the translation says, that's how they are considered. It means you encounter someone for the first time. So he is just automatically for you untrustworthy? No. And the trustworthiness here starts with being Muslim. And that's not even enough of a condition for trustworthiness. For the trustworthiness we're talking about here, the people are upon trustworthiness until there appears in them. So the people are considered trustworthy until حتى يظهر فيهم الجرح, until the until their disqualification appears. Okay, yes. What's trustworthy? Trustworthy one is a Muslim who is not a major sinner and behaves according to the manners, the manners of the people of his class, the good ones though. He behaves according to the manners of the people of his class, the good people of his class. His class means like, is he a statesman? Is he a farmer? Is he something else? He behaves in accordance with the manners of the people of his status, means the good people of his status. So, the trustworthy one is the one who is a Muslim, who is not a major sinner, and he is clear of what diminishes his virtue. That's part of the trustworthiness. Being clear of what diminishes your virtue. What diminishes the virtue? Such as telling lots of jokes. So a comedian, for example, he wouldn't be trustworthy. And subhanAllah, some societies, they take their comedians as pundits. Their comedians are pundits. Means like their opinions matter. Or also, what hinders the virtue is playing lots of chess. And also some hobbies like pigeon flying. What's this pigeon flying? Some people, they would have basically a pigeon coop on a rooftop of a tall building or moderately tall building. And they play with these pigeons and feed them, and they make them fly around in circles, and they come back and land and go into their coop. So this is not haram, but this diminishes the virtue. And for some societies, for the scholar to go out with his head uncovered diminishes the virtue. And for the scholar to eat in the market without being amongst the people of the market, like he's eating a sandwich in the market, without being amongst the people of the market. Market here, don't think necessarily like Thriftway or Walmart inside a building. Market could be not inside a building. Like, yeah, you know what it means. Stores next to each other. Or tables, for example. MashaAllah. So, the people are considered trustworthy until evidence of their disqualification appears. And therefore, you want to do a marriage contract, and you need two witnesses. So you just pulled aside, for example, any two Muslims that you never met before in your life and said, can you be witnesses for us, please? And they said, yes. And then you did a marriage contract in their presence. This is valid. You don't have to check or test them or something or vet them. Also, you should know there's two types of trustworthiness: the outward and the inward. The inward trustworthiness is confirmed for those who are tested, yani known, such as Malik and Ash-Shafi'i and their likes. The outward trustworthiness is for others. Sometimes in some religious judgments, the outward trustworthiness is not sufficient. Then, when the outward trustworthiness is not sufficient, the judge would require someone to testify to his reliability. And other times, the apparent trustworthiness is enough, like in the marriage contract, as I told you. Then the author said, Rahimahullah, وَالْأَشْيَاءُ عَلَى الْإِبَاحَةِ حَتَّى يَقُومَ دَلِيلُ الْحَظَرِ وَالْأَشْيَاءُ عَلَى الْإِبَاحَةِ حَتَّى يَقُومَ دَلِيلُ الْحَظَرِ. Things are permissible, presumed permissible, yani deemed permissible. Things are permissible until evidence of prohibition is established. Okay. This statement is from Usul al-Fiqh. Put some more Usul al-Fiqh in his Aqidah book. He has Mustalah Hadith terminology in his Aqidah book. This talk about the trustworthy one is from Hadith science. That's where you find this talk here. And this talk here about whether something is permissible, fundamentally, that yani permission is default and something won't be haram unless there's an evidence. This is from Usul al-Fiqh. And that's not a case of consensus there. Usually, when they make their books of Aqidah, they want to mention the things that all the Muslims believe. And they might sometimes in those Aqidah books mention some points of difference. For example, if you look in let's say, the Aqidah of An-Nasafi, he mentions the case of the Sa'id and the Shaqi, the way the Hanafis do, not the way the Ash'aris do. And the case of the Takween, the way the Hanafis do, not the way the Ash'aris do. So in that Aqidah book and in others, he mentioned something, a case that has a difference in opinion about it. Some scholars went one way, some scholars went the other way, another way. Usually in those Aqidah books, they want to mention what all the Muslims agree about. But there are parties amongst the Muslims, amongst the Sunni Muslims. In terms of Aqidah, there are the Ash'aris and the Maturidis. Those are the lasting parties of, those are the lasting theological parties amongst Ahlul Sunnah. And there are Hadith parties and there are Arabic parties. Parties means groups, schools, madhabs. In Arabic language, there are madhabs. In Hadith science, there are madhabs. In Usul al-Fiqh, there are madhabs concerning cases. So I'm saying all of that to say that here, the author, he took a statement that's not the statement of all of Ahlul Sunnati wal Jama'ah. This is a principle from Usul al-Fiqh. Things are permissible until evidence of prohibition is established. Yani, because some of them said things are haram unless evidence of permission is established. And each party would have his evidence to say what he's saying. And it could be that one of those sayings is really the stronger, weightier saying, the heftier saying. Here, I don't have any information to really add here, talk about how they went back and forth, for example, or how did they differ, or who is stronger here. May Allah grant us more knowledge. Ameen. He says, وَأَمْوَالُ الْمُسْلِمِينَ وَذَبَائِحُهُمْ حَلَالٌ إِلَّا مَا رُوِّينَا فِيهِ تَحْرِيمٌ. And things, and the wealth and slaughtered animals of Muslims are lawful, yani permissible for us to benefit from, except إِلَّا مَا رُوِّينَا فِيهِ تَحْرِيمٌ, except what we have been made to report as forbidden. So I don't know why it's worded this way. Why did the author word it this way? إِلَّا مَا رُوِّينَا فِيهِ التَّحْرِيمُ. I don't know. But the fundamental meaning is clear. The wealth and slaughtered animals of Muslims are lawful, meaning a Muslim has some money and he gave you some. So do you have to question him about where he got it from? Do you have to question him about where he got it from? You can just take it and use it. You can just take it and use it. What if he has a haram job and he gave you money? Can you take it? If you don't know where he got that money from that he's giving you, you can take it. But if you knew for sure that the money he's giving you is haram, then you cannot take it. The wealth of the Muslims is lawful. Yani, we're not going to presume that is haram is the meaning here. Lawful here doesn't mean it's lawful to take it by force. Lawful here means we don't presume that it's haram fundamentally. We're going to presume that it is halal fundamentally. So it goes in line with what he said here. Things are permissible until evidence of prohibition is established. Well, I didn't talk much here. And the wealth and slaughtered animals of Muslims are lawful except what we have, not what we have reported. If I translate it the way it's worded there, then it means except what we have been made to report. Except what we have been made to report, it's being forbidden. إِلَّا مَا رُوِّينَا فِيهِ التَّحْرِيمِ. التحريم فيه. روينا التحريم فيه. So also the Muslims slaughter. You can eat his slaughter. Or if he gave you some meat, if you believe that it's halal, you can eat it. You don't have to question it. But if you doubt about it, you cannot eat it. You don't have to question him, but if you doubt about it, you cannot eat it. If it's meat, I'm talking about meat here. You cannot eat meat while doubting about it. You can eat anything else while doubting about it, but you cannot eat meat. I mean flesh, skin, muscle, and fat while doubting about it. So don't search there when the Muslim gives you some money, unless you really want to, but you don't have to. Now the author wants to talk about Sufism, but I want to review this more. Again, I want to review it again, inshallah ta'ala. So let's stop here.